Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Agri Business Now, the agricultural program that brings to you all of the activities that are currently taking place within the Ministry of Agriculture. This week's program promises to not only be intriguing, but also enlightening. First off, we have a continuation from last week's segment on the Agricultural Produce and Livestock Act of 2007. Forestry Focus 2019 month of activities launched, and the agricultural sector of Grenada benefited from the generosity of the Ministry of Agriculture of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Then we have the How to Do segment along with the news and announcements. But before we get into the details, let's take a short break.
Did you know that the OECS Agriculture Competitiveness Project, otherwise known as AgriCom project, has been officially launched?
Well, it was. And the project aims at enhancing access to markets and sales for competitively selected farmers and fisher folks.
But to access funds, you must be part of a productive alliance.
So what is a productive alliance, you ask? It's a business arrangement between farmers and or fisher folks on one hand, and on the other hand, aggregators. Aggregators can be cooperatives, lead farmers, or marketers and agro-processors.
The project provides matching grants to a productive alliance. A minimum of 10 farmers or fishers and an aggregator, such as a lead farmer, a cooperative, marketer, or an agro-processor.
Farmers and fisher folk in Productive Alliance can receive up to $8,000, while the aggregator, lead farmer or fisher, cooperative, marketer, or agro-processor can receive up to $120,000. For more information, please contact Ministry of Agriculture, Richmond Hill at 456-1410 or 456-1111, extension 311 or 321, or email agricomsvg@mail.gov.vc.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching Agri Business Now. On our first segment of the program, we will continue on our journey to understanding more about the Agricultural Produce and Livestock Act of 2007. Mr. Noel Bruce, legal advisor to the Farmer Support Company Limited, will be touching on Section 14, subsection 3 and 4, which deals with search warrants.
Now, in subsection 3, it states, if upon a search made in accordance with subsection 1 and 2, agricultural produce or livestock that the constable has reasonable cause to suspect of having been unlawfully obtained is found, the constable may arrest and bring before a magistrate as soon as may be practicable after such arrest. A. The person in whose house, the store, the yard, the place, on whose land such agricultural produce or livestock is found. And 2. Any other person found in the house, the store, the yard, or the place, or on such land. If the constable has reasonable cause to suspect that the person placed or was privy to the placing of that agricultural produce or livestock in the house, the store, the yard, or place, or on such land. So therefore it is saying that the constable searches the house, the store, the yard, place, or on the land, and he can arrest the owner of that house, store, land, etc., or the person in possession or in occupation, if the constable has reason to suspect, or reasonable cause to suspect, that that person was the person who either touched those items there, or they know, or they were privy, that is, they have knowledge of that those items was touched there. So therefore we are talking about person who are in possession of goods suspected to be stolen or unlawfully obtained. So therefore, Even if you do not take part, or you didn't participate, or you're not the person who obtained these goods unlawfully, if you create or allow a person to create that environment, that space in which they can store stolen goods, then you are guilty of an offense under this act. And if you store it, or you know, or you have knowledge of the storage, especially if you have that knowledge and you have not gone to the police, you have not gone to someone in authority who can do something about it. Subsection 4 states, if a constable fails or is for any reason unable to arrest a person mentioned in subsection 3A and B, that is a person in whose house or yard that these agricultural produce or livestock is found, or any other person found in the house or in those vicinity. So even if you do not live there and you have knowledge of it, you are to report it. Now, a magistrate or justice of the peace may issue a warrant for the arrest of that particular person. So if for some reason or the other the constable comes to arrest you or comes to talk to you and they cannot find you, the magistrate can issue one of two things. He can issue a warrant for your arrest, or he can issue a summons. So that therefore it means that whenever you issue a summons, you are to appear in court on the date stated in the summons. So you can appear under your own steam, under your own care. Or you can be arrested, and the next time your matter is called, it is the police who will take you to the hearing.
The forestry services within the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries, Rural Transformation, Industry and Labour launched its annual Forestry Focus Month under the theme 30 years of educating, interacting and delivering forestry service since 1989 to 2019, along with the slogan "Knowledge is always key," with a church service at the Wesleyan Holiness Church in Camden Park on September 2nd, 2019. Wilbur Jack of the Communications Unit has the details.
Celebrated under the theme 30 years of education, interaction, and delivering forest service, the 30th anniversary of the Forestry Focus was launched with a special church service at the Wesleyan Holiness Church in Camden Park on Monday, September 9, 2019. Speaking on behalf of the Director of Forestry, Fitzgerald Providence, and Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Raymond Ryan, Senior Forestry Supervisor Cornelius Richards gave a history of the forestry services over the past 3 decades.
Forestry, we can say, as a discipline started in St. Vincent and the Grenadines in 1949 with the passage of the Forestry and Wildlife Ordinance. 2019, however, marks the Forestry Department's 30th anniversary of educating, interacting and delivering forestry services with a community-oriented focus. Over the past 3 decades, the Forestry Department and our partners have worked closely to secure community forestry throughout the entire country. This has resulted in programs that are more community-oriented, people-centered, good policies, poverty reduction, and healthier forests. In the 1980s, for those of us who were in the department then, you remember that we were losing forests throughout the island. Forests are disappearing rapidly. Along with this, our sustainable livelihoods were threatened. Thousands of persons' livelihoods were threatened during that time. It was generally accepted that a top-down system of forest management was no solution and could not be effective throughout St. Vincent. Involving people, providing solution was a very effective way to move forward. This concept began to spread and was adopted by many communities throughout the state. However, it became clear that a lack of technical knowledge and understanding of how the forests really work was hindering the implementation of some of our management activities with communities. So, in 1987, the Forestry Department recognized this and began to develop a community forestry program started with public education. The launch of the Road to Recovery campaign, designed to sensitize Vincentians as to the plight of the St. Vincent parrot, was a precursor to this aspect. Those of you who remember the Leave the Forest Alone song, Leave the Forest Alone, Leave the Forest Alone, that was the genesis of us sitting here today. This impetus grew in 1989 when the department launched a full program supported by a month of activities to showcase the various aspects of forestry throughout the country. This program coincided with the Decade of the Environment, which was declared by the government at that time. The public education campaign initially operated at a school and community outreach level to provide information on forestry to the various communities. It has since evolved into a partnering with civil society organizations who actively participate in forest management initiatives to improve the lives of the forest and forest-dependent people throughout our many communities, focusing on climate change adaptation and mitigation, sustainable livelihoods, and preventing and transforming conflict over forest land use. Capacity development, training, and learning events remain central to the Forestry Department's work, together with the on-the-ground projects critical to address issues and strategic communication. Some of our achievements over the years, we cannot overstate them, but I just want to pick a few out for you. The passage of our Forest Resource Conservation Act and Wildlife Act was paramount. The establishment of this department from a division to a department, training of our staff to better carry out our functions and mandates as a department, strengthening our school program, our community outreach program, to address several critical issues of forest management. We developed over the years and maintained recreation sites with a community use focus. We restored degraded watersheds, especially to improve their function. We protect several endemic species under various levels of designation, and we protect them in some cases from illegal trade. The St. Vincent parrot was protected in 1987, and we have had several protections ever since. But the most recent would be our gonatoid dudini, the Union Island gecko, which we successfully ascended to Appendix 1 status at CITES in Geneva last week. We also transformed forest management programs to reflect adaptation to climate change, and the list continues. As a result of solid achievements, strong demand for local forestry programs continue to grow. We are getting requests from groups, individuals, community, churches, schools, almost on a daily basis to assist in developing programs that can strengthen environment and environmental protection throughout the country. The Forestry Department is proud of its reputation as a leading government organization for building community involvement in environmental conservation capacity throughout the country. We have much to celebrate and look forward to in the years to come, including ensuring that continued successful community forests contributes towards the achieving multiple sustainable development goals set by the United Nations.
We are together again, praising the Lord. We are together again, in one accord. Something good is going to happen. Something good in this room. We are together again, praising the Lord. We are together again, praising the Lord. We are together again, in one accord. Something good is going to happen. Something good in this room. We are together again, praising the Lord. We are together again, praising the Lord. We are together again, in one accord. Something good is going to happen. Something good in this room. We are together again, praising the Lord.
Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries, Rural Transformation, Industry and Labour of St. Vincent and the Grenadines on Friday, 6 September 2019 donated over 30,000 tissue culture plantlets to the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands of Grenada. The donation was in response to requests made by Grenada's government for planting material. Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Soboto Caesar, expressed gratitude to the government and people of Grenada for their cooperation with St. Vincent and the Grenadines as it relates to agriculture and the OECS.
I wish to thank the government and people of Grenada for the excellent cooperation with St. Vincent and the Grenadines as it relates to agriculture. Throughout the OECS, we have been working to ensure that we have the free movement of agricultural commodities. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, or farmers, we have benefited significantly in that we have opened a large market for the export of livestock to Grenada. Today, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as a gift, we sent tissue culture material to Grenada, Tanya, 20,000, Dashin, 6,000, Edos, 2,000, pineapple, 10,000, sweet potatoes, 1,500. These material were produced at the Tissue Culture Lab in Orange Hill, and they would definitely benefit the farmers in Grenada. We have a significant order for animals to be exported to Grenada during the next 2 weeks. 400 pigs and 50 heads of cattle. And I received a letter from the Chief Agriculture Officer in Grenada that the government of Grenada will be making a donation of spices, 40,000 spice plants, to the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I really wish to take this opportunity to thank the government and people of Grenada. And this is definitely a stellar showing of how the OECS is at work and we are benefiting from regional cooperation.
Next, we have the How to Do corner, where you will learn how to make goat milk cheese.
Did you know that the OECS Agriculture Competitiveness Project, otherwise known as AgriCom project, has been officially launched?
Well, it was. And the project aims at enhancing access to markets and sales for competitively selected farmers and fisher folks.
But to access funds, you must be part of a productive alliance.
So what is a productive alliance, you ask? It's a business arrangement between farmers and or fisher folks on one hand, and on the other hand, aggregators. Aggregators can be cooperatives, lead farmers, or marketers and agro-processors.
The project provides matching grants to a productive alliance. A minimum of 10 farmers or fishers and an aggregator, such as a lead farmer, a cooperative, marketer, or an agro-processor.
Farmers and fisher folk in Productive Alliance can receive up to $8,000, while the aggregator, lead farmer or fisher, cooperative, marketer, or agro-processor can receive up to $120,000. For more information, please contact Ministry of Agriculture, Richmond Hill at 456-1410 or 456-1111, extension 311 or 321, or email agricomsvg@mail.gov.vc.
Water. It is 75% of the Earth's surface, yet it is scarce in some places. It's 70% of our body's mass, yet many do not drink that 8 glasses per day. The forest plays an important part in the water cycle by protecting our watersheds. Water is life. Protect the forest. Preserve life.
It's time for you to learn how to make goat milk cheese all on your own. Let's take you through the steps.
How to make goat milk cheese. You will need 1 quart goat milk, 1/4 cup of white wine vinegar, salt, a thermometer, a strainer, cheesecloth, wooden or stainless steel long handle spoon, and a stove. Step 1. Heat the milk. Place a non-reactive pot on the stove on low heat. Pour the goat's milk into the pot and slowly heat it until the temperature is around 185 degrees. It should not reach a full boil, and we do not want the milk to burn at the bottom of the pot. So keep the heat low and be patient. Once the milk is at the right temperature, small bubbles will form on the surface and it will look foamy. Remember to continuously stir the milk during this process. Step 2. Form the curds. Now that the milk's temperature is around 185 degrees Fahrenheit, turn off the heat and add the vinegar. Gently stir the milk until loose curds form on the surface. Step 3. Separate curds and whey. Drape several layers of cheesecloth over a strainer. The piece of cloth should be large enough to cover the strainer entirely. Pour the pot of goat's milk into the strainer, catching the solids or curds in the cheesecloth. The strainer may be set over a sink if you do not desire to save the whey, or over a bowl and save the whey for other uses. Step 4. Drain the curds. Pull the sides of the cheesecloth up around the curds and form a pouch. Then tie the cheesecloth. Leave it hanging and undisturbed for 1 to 2 hours. Then give the pouch a few gentle squeezes so that the remaining moisture will drip out. Once the whey is completely drained, scrape the curds out of the cheesecloth and place them on a plate or in a bowl. Step 5. Flavoring the cheese. Add a bit of salt to the curds. At this time, you may also add other types of seasonings such as black pepper, red pepper flakes, or dry herbs. Massage the seasoning into the curds with your hands. This helps with the texture because it becomes a bit smoother and creamier. The cheese can be eaten at this time, but the flavor tends to improve if it is refrigerated for a few hours in a bowl with plastic wrap over it. The finished product. Before serving, the cheese may be topped with olive oil and fresh herbs. Serve and enjoy.
Up next, the news and announcements.
Cattle farmers from Fancy to Peruvian Vale who are interested in commercial cattle production are asked to contact the Newgrounds Agricultural Station at 4511683. That's 4511683.
Persons who are registered for Farmers ID must bring along with them National Identification Card or Passport, Vincent, the deed if the land belongs to you, permission letter if you have permission to use the land, rent or lease agreement and or a recent receipt. Please note, this goes for both persons registering for the first time and persons who had a card before.
As part of the Forestry Services Forestry Focus 2019 month of activities, a plant propagation training will be held on Friday 13 September at the Forestry headquarters beginning at 9:30 a.m. The theme for Forestry Focus 2019 is 30 Years of Education, Interacting and Delivering Forestry Services 1989 to 2019. And the slogan, Knowledge is Always Key.
Here is where we come to the end of another Agri Business Now program. Join us again next week on Wednesday at 8:30 for another informative one. Please feel free to contact us at the Communications Unit within the Ministry of Agriculture at 456-1111, extension 312 or 472, or email us at citumaf2@hotmail.com. You can also check for updates on our YouTube channel, Agri Business Now St. Vincent, or on our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/agribusinessnow, to get more updates. On the behalf of the Communications Unit within the Ministry of Agriculture, I am your host, Nakita Samuel. Thank you for viewing and do have yourself a wonderful night.